Value is something that's very dependent on what your perspective is. From a medtech innovation perspective, conceptually it's simple because value is what drives sales, volume, revenues, share, penetration, and profits. So what has changed over time is how that is defined and how it works in process. And so historically, medtech innovators sold to individual physicians. So the primary goals were to obtain regulatory approval and then to address the physician's unmet needs, which could include improving healthcare outcomes, but it could also include new features and benefits, ease of use, and so on. What's changed over the last few years is that payers and administrators have aggressively moved to control medtech innovation costs, and so their perspectives need to be taken into account. And so what they look at, in addition to the factors that physicians look at, is financial considerations, economic value, budget impact to the hospital, revenues, margins, and so on. So depending on the perspective, it's different. And going forward, the patient's values in how medtech innovation improves their quality of life and whether it impacts life or death issues will be increasingly important as well. Historically, large manufacturers really understood individual physicians and what needed to be done to obtain acceptance based on clinical factors. Going forward and today, what companies like Abbott are really doing is focusing a lot more on influencing the health policy environment, on understanding payers and the needs of administrators, and increasingly are also looking at the patient perspective. And all of those factors are going to be critical to their success. I'd also add that historically, many companies could count on a successful business plan if they could achieve success in the United States market, which is the largest market in the world. Going forward, there's much more focus in high growth areas such as the Asia Pacific countries and the BRIC countries. What aspiring innovators should take away from what large companies are doing is to make sure that they are not looking at the world from the lens of only selling to individual physicians. They really need to look at the broader healthcare environment, which has moved much more towards value and also taking into account cost considerations and economic considerations, and understand whether the success of their innovation is going to be influenced by payers, by hospital administrators, and understanding that perspective early on and making sure that everything they're doing is addressing the needs of all the stakeholders who are either going to make or break this technology.